Look around. The world is producing challenges faster than it can produce solutions. Climate change, demographic aging, supply chains that snap overnight. Organizations that move at the speed of bureaucracy in a world that moves at the speed of light. These aren't just complicated problems you can solve by hiring a consultant, running an algorithm, or writing a better memo. These are wicked problems. They're complex, contested, and stubbornly resistant to the kind of thinking that got us here in the first place. So, what if there were a way of thinking that was built exactly for this kind of mess? Well, luckily there is. It's called design thinking, and at the German University of Digital Science, it's at the heart of everything we do. Design thinking is, at its core, a human-centered approach to innovation, a disciplined yet flexible way of tackling the kinds of complex, uncertain challenges that don't have neat, pre-packaged answers. Here's a working definition that I find useful. Design thinking is a collaborative method that uses empathy, creativity, and structured experimentation to generate innovative responses to complex problems. It combines divergent and convergent thinking, generating lots of ideas, then rigorously selecting the best ones to prototype and test. It's iterative, it's team-based, and above all, it focuses on the real needs of the people and the planet. Traditional approaches to innovation often start with technology. Here's something clever. Can we sell it? Design thinking flips that logic. It starts with human desirability. What do people actually need? What does the planet need? What problems are they actually living with? Or only then does it ask whether a solution is technically feasible and economically viable. That shift from product out to human in changes everything. Before we go further, if you're finding this useful, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. And after you've watched the video, please drop a comment below. What problem in your work or personal life would you like to tackle with design thinking? I'd love to read about them. Design thinking didn't arrive fully formed. It evolved, and its evolution tells us a lot about why it matters now. It started in the world of product design. The design studio IDEO, founded by David Kelly in California, pioneered a user-centered approach that produced some of the late 20th century's most iconic objects. Apple's first mouse, the Palm 5 personal digital assistant, the Steelcase Leap chair, an office chair that was designed by actually studying how human bodies move while sitting rather than just assuming people sit still. But something bigger was being discovered. If you could use this approach to design a better chair, could you use it to design a better service, a better organization, a better city? By the 2000s, the answer seemed clear. Yes, it could. IDEO launched IDEO.org using design thinking to tackle global social challenges, including famously the Food Waste Challenge, which brought together a network of food waste startups and community organizations across the United States. At the same time, Hasso Plattner, co-founder of SAP, became one of design thinking's great patrons. He funded the D School at Stanford and the HBI School of Design Thinking in Potsdam, as well as the D School in Cape Town, turning design thinking into a global educational movement for innovation. Today, design thinking is applied in businesses, hospitals, government departments, NGOs and schools, to name but a few. And in most recent development, it's even being turned inward, applied to personal development, to design your career, your life, and your own transformation. Design thinking, in other words, keeps growing because the problems it was made for keep growing too. So, what actually makes design thinking effective? It begins with a set of mindsets, ways of approaching the world that shape how design thinkers think and act. The first is human and planet-centeredness. Design thinking teams always start with people with real lives, real needs, real frustrations in real environments, whether they are social or natural. Not average users in a spreadsheet, but the full spectrum of human experience, the novice, the expert, the marginalized, and the mainstream, and yes, increasingly, the planet itself as teams tackle environmental challenges. The second is collaboration in diverse teams. Design thinking is emphatically not a solo sport. It's played in teams, ideally small, diverse teams of 5 to 8 people, bringing together different disciplines and outlooks of life, different backgrounds, different ways of seeing the world. We talk about T-shaped people, individuals who have a deep expertise in one area, that's the stem of the T, but also who bring curiosity, empathy, and the ability to connect with others. That's the bar of the T. It's the bar that makes teams creative. Why does diversity matter? Because wicked problems are too complex for any one perspective to solve. The more cultural lenses a team brings to the challenge, the more likely that they are to see what any single viewpoint would miss, and the more resilient their solutions will be. The third mindset is embracing uncertainty. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive. In most professional settings, uncertainty is something to eliminate as quickly as possible. Design thinking says, sit with it, explore it, because if you pretend the uncertainty isn't there, it will come back and bite you, usually in the form of unintended consequences. Remember New Coke? Well, you probably don't, because it was a very long time ago. In 1985, Coca-Cola launched a reformulated product based on rigorous market research. 79 days later, they had to bring back the original. The research was technically sound, but it had missed something essential about what Coke meant to people. That's the cost of underestimating uncertainty, and certainly underestimating empathy. The fourth mindset is learning through experimentation. Design thinkers, just like the designers they learned from, don't wait until they have the perfect answer. They build rough prototypes, they test them, they fail fast, and they learn faster. Every failed prototype is a piece of data. Every user interview that challenges your assumptions is a gift. And the fifth, often underrated, is the beginner's mind. The discipline of approaching every challenge as if you don't already know the answer. Even experts, especially experts. These mindsets translate into three fundamental practices that make design thinking a powerful tool to solve, or at least tackle, wicked problems. First, team-based integrative thinking. Design thinkers don't fight over whose perspective is right. They integrate contending ideas. The management and innovation scholar Roger Martin calls this integrative thinking. The ability to hold two contradictory ideas in tension and forge something new from the friction between them. In a design thinking team, this happens constantly. The engineer and the sociologist see the same problem completely differently, as might people from different walks of life, parts of the world, or age groups. And that difference, handled correctly, is where innovation lives. Second, iteration and continuous learning. IBM has a beautiful visualization of this, the design loop. Teams move through the cycles of observing the world, reflecting on what they've seen, making prototypes and proposals, and then going back out to test them. Wicked problems are never solved once and for all. They're constantly solved and resolved. Iteration is how design thinking teams stay agile, humble, and responsive. Third, the double diamond process. The double diamond gives design thinking teams a clear map of the journey. It describes two distinct spaces. The problem space, the first diamond, is where teams research, understand, and crucially reframe the challenge. They observe users, interview stakeholders, and challenge every assumption. Good design thinking teams resist the temptation to jump to solutions. They invest deeply in understanding the problem first. The solution space, the second diamond, is where teams generate ideas, build prototypes, and test them with real users. Each diamond involves two modes of thinking: divergence, generate as many possibilities as you can, and convergence, select, refine, and move forward. And that makes the two diamonds. The discipline is always to diverge before you converge, to produce first and judge later. The proof, of course, is in the doing. IDEO's work on medical device design changed how nurses and doctors interact with patients. By actually shadowing nurses in hospitals, not just surveying them, designers discovered that the most pressing problems weren't technical at all. They were about workflow, communication, and dignity. In transport, design thinking has helped cities redesign bus stops, cycling infrastructure, and commuter apps, starting not with what engineers thought passengers needed, but with what commuters actually experience on 7 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday. And organizations from Airbus to Deutsche Bank have used design thinking sprints to cut through complexity, not with more management layers or more consultants, but with diverse teams, sticky notes, and the discipline to keep asking, what do people actually need here? The world needs people who can think this way. People who can sit with complexity rather than oversimplify it, who can collaborate across difference rather than retreat into silos, who can experiment and iterate rather than bet everything on a single elegant but highly fragile solution. At the German University of Digital Science, we believe that design thinking isn't just a skill. It's a practice, a mindset, and ultimately a way of showing up in the world. Curious, empathetic, and ready to tackle the problems that actually matter. Whether you're a business leader navigating digital transformation, a public sector professional rethinking how services work, or someone who simply wants to approach their own professional life with more creativity and purpose, there's never been a better time to start thinking like a designer.